A heat wave sweeping over Europe with the UK bracing to bake in record high temperatures. As Europeans look to cool down, this could spell bad news for energy prices. We're, of course, also watching the effect of the heat wave here in the U.S. as well. We've had Texas telling, for example, crypto miners to shut down their operations to help preserve the reliability of the grid during a heat wave there. Joining us now for more insights is Michel Sznajer. He is Tortoise Ecofin portfolio manager. Thank you for being here, Michel. So I guess big picture, first of all, when you look at the heat that is sweeping really across the globe, are the electricity operators up to the task? Are we going to see rolling brownouts? Are we going to see the grid hold up?
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. I'm calling you from London today, and we're reaching historical highs, as you mentioned, probably 100 degrees today or tomorrow. So really record highs. With regard to electricity generator, they're really in a very tight spot because we are already in a very tight supply environment due to the war in Ukraine, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. That put pressure on supply of natural gas. On top of that, we have a situation of very hot weather, very dry weather, and therefore hydropower is also under pressure in several regions, and that again is adding to the tightness on the supply of electricity. The good news is obviously the sun is shining, and therefore we have record high sun generation, but sun or solar generation is still a small percentage of the total generation, and therefore not enough to compensate the weakness or the low level in gas or in hydro. So we are in the summer when typically we fill storage, especially natural gas storage, and unfortunately with the current climate, we're in a situation where the demand is above expectation, unusually high, and therefore somewhat capping the opportunity to store more and more gas for the winter.
What has this done in terms of consumer prices in the region?
Prices have skyrocketed since the beginning of the year. As I mentioned, part of that, or the main reason, was really the issue in terms of gas coming from Russia. And so if in many countries in Europe, the price of electricity on the back of the price of gas and the price of coal and other commodities, the price of electricity has doubled, tripled or more in some countries. In the US, you have also seen the price of electricity double in some region, and that has an impact on the consumer, typically with a time lag, but it will have to be passed to the consumer both at the retail and on the business side.
Michel, however, even though prices for the consumer, and certainly my electricity prices have been going higher, even though prices have been going up, are the utility companies making more money because their costs are higher on the one hand, and it's still a regulated business in many markets?
It is. You're right. So a lot of companies are not making more money. They're passing through the increase in cost to the consumer. Some companies that have hedged their supply or that are generating electricity from other sources that are not seeing such inflation are taking advantage of those higher prices because they keep those economics for themselves. So if you have open position in the market, or if you have a cost base that is fixed in nature, then you're taking advantage of those higher prices.
What's the economic impact in the UK from the heat wave?
It's a bit early to tell. At the moment, there hasn't been any rationing. There hasn't been any constraint on supply. We have plenty of gas. The UK is actually exporting gas to Europe at the moment because we have less storage than Europe. So it's not unusual for the UK to export gas in the summer and to get gas back in the winter. So it has put a lot of pressure on people, as you mentioned, because the energy bill has increased substantially. We are all seeing or expect to see our bill more than double this year. So it will have a domino effect on disposable income. The government is stepping in to help the lower income population. But we would expect, if it stays like this, that ultimately something needs to happen. Is either the government's going to have to intervene to set the price of electricity, or we'll have to support consumer much more.
And Michel, finally, very quickly, what stocks would you recommend that people buy as we see this surge in heat, that the power companies that are best poised here?
Yeah, you want, at the end of the day, what's the consequence of this is that you need more renewable, and renewables are cheaper than the alternatives like gas and coal power generation. They were cheaper before this spikes that we see in prices, so they're even cheaper now. You're going to see an acceleration in development of renewables. That's to the benefit of the key companies that are exposed to that. In the US, it's companies like Nextera, like Clearway Energy, or in Europe, companies like Drax in the UK, or ERG in Italy, or Encavis, for instance, in Germany.
Thanks so much, Michel. Michel Sznajer, Tortoise Ecofin portfolio manager. Thanks for your insight on this important story as we see this heat continuing.